let's turn our attention to the Pulse Chain ecosystem. So falling again, actually, weirdly enough, a mini rally, if you will, as we got on air here from where it was earlier today. But I mean, we have been talking about this region. We've been calling this a double bottom since we've been at like what, 4 zeros and a 4-5. I mean, if you look at the weekly chart, which you don't have to pull up yet, but if we do in a moment, I mean, you'll see. I mean, we've been in that range, calling it a double bottom for a while. Now, have we hit the nut bottom of where we were nearly a calendar year ago yet? Not quite, but I mean, we're
Close.
Essentially there. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're like literally like 15% off. I mean, it's nothing. So we are double bottoming. We have been double bottoming. We're still here now. Let's hope it is. Actually, I'll say this. Let's hope it is a double bottom. I don't want us to go lower. I mean, like, who knows? Because I mean, it was really, I think it would have been late August, maybe even early September last year. It was weeks after the initial corrupt SEC horseshit complaint. Whenever we saw that capitulation. I know you and I disagree on this. We're going to get into this conversation later. I think that Pulse would have been destined for these lows regardless, maybe just not in such a quick red candle fashion as it happened with that, garbage news whenever that came out. But we are here again now. And this morning, $1.2 million of Pulse was liquidated. I saw a very big liquidation. There's been a lot of that happening, actually, just kind of seeing the alerts on Twitter. Richard Hart tweeted today, it's going to be kind of bullish. I don't know what he exactly means by this. Maybe I should have been one of the breaking news people who said, breaking, Richard Hart says. But his tweet today about the price being at the SEC complaint low, just what we were just talking about. He tweeted about that and did his normal, like, hey, past performance doesn't equal future value, blah, 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 blah. Kind of indicating like, maybe it would be a good time to buy. I'm not sure if he's indicating anything else there. Who knows? But what do you make of where we're at here? And I didn't read off all the prices. I'll do that. So Pulse is at quad 038. Pulse X is at 4 zeros and a 1.8 basically. Incentive has now gone below $2. It's at 186. But I mean, I still think overall, holding up better than people would expect at this point. Hex has gone the whole way down to 4.4 tenths of a penny at this point. And EHEX is at it's been hanging out right kind of where it is. I mean, EHEX is kind of like where the hell else can it go? 0012. So what do you make of where we're at? If you want to pull up that Pulse weekly, we can do that too. But yeah, we're really continuing this double bottom in earnest now for sure.
Yeah, let me pull up the Pulse USDC chart anyway, and there you go. Is it showing?
Yeah.
Cool. So we are looking at, we're at 3822 right now, and that other bottom, the SEC bottom that he was talking about, was 3298. So what we measure that. It was a little off. Oh well. Yeah, 13%. To basically to that point. I do think we will go there. When you look at charts like that, or in charts like this, new charts, ones that run up, and there's usually a gap, or there's a place to fill. Basically, it almost always goes back to touch that area for the final retest. And we can honestly just hope that it doesn't go any lower. I know there are some big bag holders out there that could get to that point and sell, thinking that it's going to go way lower, and they could really tank the price, which, would be bad for a lot of people, especially ones that have used liquid loans, things like that, where, now we're getting dangerously close to where the people that should have over collateralized when they did, it's starting to reach some of those areas where it's getting scary. You almost want to put a little bit more collateral in just in case it does go a little bit lower. That's kind of where me personally, where I'm getting to. I'm still probably over 500% collateralized, but it goes a little bit lower and you do start to worry about those type of things. But yeah, I mean, I do like his tweet this morning, that was, it says almost down to the SEC complaint week low. So yeah, we're getting very close. I think that was maybe his call of a double bottom. Could be a great time to buy if you're not. But yeah, I mean, as with most markets, like I said, they do tend to go back to lows and touch. I know for what is it? I guess there's the different futures and things like that. When there are major run-ups and it doesn't have a chance to fill a lot of those spots, sometimes it does have to go back there in order to fill it up. And I think that's why it just kind of naturally happens that way. But yeah, I mean, I can totally see. And actually, this one wick was pretty much there again. So this would technically be, if it does come back and touch, a triple bottom, which is even more bullish than just a double bottom. So 3 tests of that level could be looking at the all-time low, hopefully, and we just run up from there. So let's get this 13% over with and just go. That's my view on the whole thing.
I totally agree. Shout out Axis Alive in the chat. I was just thinking today, I was like, oh, I feel like I haven't seen that guy in a while. Welcome in, Axis. But yeah, same with me, Ewok. I mean, at this point, it's like, yeah, why not touch it again? Of course, who cares? What's 15% at this point? You know, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to say, I mean, I guess just the fact that I'm doubting it means I'm not confident, but I would normally feel pretty damn confident that, I mean, we're not going to go far below that number, you know, maybe on a wick or something like that real quick. I've too confidently said many other things and been, you know, blasted in the face being wrong in the past in this market. So I'm not going to do anything like that, but feels like that's what is about to happen. So, I would just, like you just said, I mean, we all want to be DCing as hard as we can right now. But the funny thing is, everybody's like, with what money? I mean, you know, just kind of whatever I can bring in when I can bring it in at this point, you know, everybody's in, but
sure. Yeah, no, and we're always going to be wrong. I mean, there are going to be things where we think happen and they just don't. And, you know, that's part of this whole game. When we put ourselves out here like that and we say things, they're not all going to be accurate. And, you know, hopefully the majority of them are, and, you know, some of our predictions hit, but, you know, obviously none of us have that crystal ball that we all wish we had. So,
right.
You know, we are going to make mistakes like everybody does.